David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another installment in my Cool Stuff series. Now, the idea for this series is that I might have some items which I feel are really cool and want to share with you, but don't necessarily warrant a full, 10 to 12 minute long video. Today, I have items from 4 different companies. I have some very cool storage options from NSP Design, some pen wipes and glasses cleaner from a company called Inky, a pair of scissors that I don't believe I've shared, but are one of my favorite stationery possessions. And then, believe it or not, we are going to talk about a video game recommendation. I have always threatened to do a Figboot on Games episode, so this is my first foray into that for you. So there's a lot to go over in this video, so in order to get right to it, please join me over here at camera 2. Okay, first up, we have 3 items from NSP Design. 2 of the items are rather straightforward, but the third is rather unique. I've featured this brand several times, but if you're not familiar, they are based out of Turkey and specialize in pen storage. And I have a number of their pieces I get great use out of. Let's start with the unique piece first, just because it's rather large and a bit unwieldy, which is their rotating pen display. I know we have to kind of be out here wide, and I'm going to show it to you on a side, and you can see that it has 4 trays, and then it has kind of a pivot area here, and it has a fountain pen on top. This is heavy. This is 10 pounds. And so let's go ahead and set this down. The idea is that you could set it on your desk, and then you could actually rotate these trays to accommodate various pens. And then the bottom one is a flat tray. Now, you can actually, let me reach underneath, and you can push these trays out. So if you really wanted to extract one of these trays to just use it separately, you could, but it's available in a number of different colors. There's like a blue, a dark green, an orange, yellow, gray, beige, pink, and dark lilac. And I kind of have a variety of the colors in here. There's the yellow, and this is the orange, and the gray, and then that's the dark lilac. I will say, in regard to pens, what it will hold, let's go ahead and get some pens here. And you can see this is what it looks like holding a Visconti Homo sapiens and a Pilot Vanishing Point. And here it is with a Narwhal Nautilus and a Sailor Pro Gear, and then a Mont Blanc Starwalker, as well as a Montegrappa Elmo. So you can see that it all holds some larger pens in there. Now, in regard to something very large, like this Namiki Emperor, here on the top, it does hold it and hold it well, but it is rather thick. And the pens that you want to put on some of the lower levels need to be a bit thinner. So if it is super thick pens, so like these pens just like this, will fit just fine. But if I have something thicker like this Emperor, then that doesn't quite fit in there. And so just the pens that you have down here below, so everything here fits just fine on the lower section. So every one of these pens fits just fine, but if you have something that is a bit thicker, like that Emperor, then you'd want to keep that on top and not on one of the lower levels. But I have found that this is a real useful way to have a kind of a wide variety of storage just sitting on my desk, not taking up that much space. So each one of these trays holds 2, 4, 6 pens. So this particular one holds 18 pens. 18 pens and then the tray that's down here. And so I can have 18 pens in something that is rather cool looking and kind of hides away some pens as well. So I have some up top and then other ones that are down below that are hidden. The price for this pen display is $350, and I will say that it is very well made and very sturdy. I'll have a link below where you can find this as well as the other items I'll show you here in a second on the NSP website. Let's go ahead and set this aside. Okay, I have two other pen trays to quickly show you. The first one here is this solid walnut pen tray, and this one is $40. And again, you can go ahead and remove this, and you have a variety of colors like yellow and orange and green and beige and blue and dark lilac in this one here. And so you can have pens that you lay down here, even the larger pens like the Emperor, or even this one here, which is from Mr. Cypress. And then over here, you could also put pens, or you could put something else, like you can put a bottle of ink. And most ink bottles will fit in here nicely, and so they won't move around. And so it's a nice way to store some ink on your desk as well. And then finally, we have this nice pen tray here, which is a 10 pen tray. These trays run $32, and they come in cream and green and navy blue and burgundy. This one here is the cream, and it is very soft. This one is more solid to where the tray does not come out, but as you can see, it's rather thin as well. And through the magic of editing, let's go ahead and get some pens in here. So as you can see that it holds very large pens well. Here's the Namiki Emperor. Here's the Vizier Horizon, which I think is the largest pen in my collection, and that fits that well. As well as a Nakaya Dorsal Fin 2. And then this is, again, the Mr. Cypress Eggshell. And this is the Junli 930. And this is the Black Robin pens. This is the Skate pen, which I reviewed not long ago. And then here it is with also a TWSBI VAC 700 Iris. I think that the quality on the NFP design stuff is fantastic. And like I said, they have a wide variety of trays that I use on a regular basis, so I encourage you to check them out. Next up, we have something I felt was really cute, and these are nib wipes from a company called Inky. Inky is based out of Brooklyn, New York, and run by a woman by the name of Nat. The product arrives in this biodegradable box right here, and this slips off, and then inside we have a couple of things. There was some instructions as well as a sticker. And then inside we have the cannolis. And here they are. These are appropriately called the cannoli wipes. Each of these little cannoli are handmade. There is a soft leather exterior. It's really soft. And that then the interior is made of chamois. Now, chamois is made from the skin of sheep or lamb and is tanned by a process that involves oxidation of deep sea cod oil into the skin in order to make it soft and durable. So it's normal for chamois to have a slightly fishy smell at first, but that typically goes away after a couple of uses. I didn't notice it on these at all. But if you grew up in the era I did, then you know, these were just called chamois, and you use these to dry your car after you washed it. So there is two different products that I have here, and this one here is a glasses cleaner, and that it works very well, and that it just folds right up, and then you do that, and then you have your little cannoli again. And this one here is nib wipes. And as you can see here, there is 3 different nib wipes that you could use to clean off your nibs. Now, I will fully admit that just like using a brand new notebook, I'm really apprehensive to use this. Just not because it's not cool, it's just because it looks so cool and looks so neat, and I just don't want to mess it up. So I am going to force myself to use it here on camera for the sake of this review. And once that I use it and get a little bit of ink on here, then maybe I won't be so apprehensive to use it going forward. So what I actually have here, you saw them before. Let's twist it this way. I have my pens for the week. I usually, at the beginning of every week, I pick out 5 pens that I'm going to use, and I ink them up, and then I use one for each day of the week. I showed these earlier, but I have a TWSBI Diamond 580. That's a VAC 700. Then this is the Skate pen, which is from Black Robin pens. I reviewed this earlier, but this is a pen made from recycled skateboards. And then there's that Junli 930, and then there is the Mr. Cypress Morris eggshell and the Nakaya dorsal fin too. I kind of try to always have a mixture of more expensive pens and then lesser expensive pens and kind of rotate through my collection to make sure everything gets loved. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and ink each of these up. Now, real quickly, the inks that I'm going to use are the Kainite de Nupal from J. Herbin. Then there is a Farnese American Blue. And then there is a Roaring Klingner Verdigris. And then there is a Three Oysters Navy Blue. And then there is a Nutcracker ink from Papier Plume. Now I'm going to speed up the video a bit so that you can get an idea of what this looks like in order to ink up these 5 pens. Okay, now it is broken in, and so now I guess I have no excuse not to use this, but you can see how over time that's going to make for a bit of an art project. It did bleed through just a little bit there, but I have been told that you can clean this a little bit, and so I have a feeling that a lot of the ink will come out, but it'll probably never get all the way back to just completely clean. I'm not going to go through that experiment, but I kind of actually like now that it has a bit of color on it. I'm interested to see what it's going to look like. Probably a little bit like a Pollock painting after a while. But then you can close it back up. And there we have the very cute cannolis. I'll go ahead and put a link again in the notes below where you can check these out on the Inky website. These sell 1 for $25 and 2 for $45. Next up, we have something that has been one of my favorite possessions for quite some time. I might have shown them in passing, but I don't believe I discussed them at length, and that would be my scissors from Ernst Wright. Now, I know this sounds a bit silly. Why are these scissors so special? Ernst Wright is a company based out of Sheffield, England, and they have been making scissors since 1902. And this right here is their 6.5-inch general purpose scissors. Now, I first became aware of this company after watching a YouTube video titled Why Ernst Wright Scissors Are So Expensive. I'll put a link to it in the notes below. It has over 6 million views, but it does a really good job of telling you the history of the company and explaining what these master craftsmen do. It's very similar to the fountain pen hobby. You have people that might say, hey, why buy an expensive pen when a $2 Bic writes just fine? We all know the difference there and the artisanship and the skill that it takes to create fine writing instruments and appreciate that. Well, why buy an expensive pair of scissors when a $2 pair of scissors will cut just fine? I'll let you watch the video, and by the end, I feel you will understand. I love my scissors, and I love that they will last a lifetime. And I also love that this wasn't mass-produced by a factory. It was meticulously handcrafted. Artisans who are some of the best in the world at what they do laid their hands on this in order to ensure its precision. Something that I learned that is a distinguishing feature of a quality pair of scissors, that they need to have spaces between the blades. And so let me see if you could see it. I have to get it just right at the right angle, but there is a space, like a curve between the, let's move this so you can see this. There's a little bit of space here between the blades. And so when you open and shut it, that the only time the blade is coming in contact with each other is along the cutting surface, and that is a key feature of a high quality pair of scissors. This way, the blades only touch right where the cutting is happening. I'll put a link in the notes below where you can check out the Ernst Wright website, but these scissors cost about $80. Now, these are the general use scissors. Now, they also offer a wide variety of what I'll describe as products for professionals, like tailors and dressmaker shears, and those can run as much as $320. But like I said, these get so much use from me, and I like them so much that not long ago I actually actually purchased a second pair so I could have one at my office, or one at my work office as well. I know it's just a pair of scissors, but I get a lot of joy out of this. I love the little leather sheath that it comes with, that I always keep them in there, and there's always something special about pulling out my scissors. And then on top of that, they are just very, very high quality. And like I said, just like a very special pen that you always get joy out of, I get joy when I use these scissors as well. Last up, I have a video game recommendation. As I've mentioned many times in the past, I've been a gamer for a very long time. I actually worked in the gaming industry. I was one of the first employees of the company called Razer. Mainly PC gaming, but I do own a couple of consoles for the things that I just have to play that aren't on PC. And I really love the feeling when you really get into a game. You obsess over it and can't wait to get back to playing. I recently finished Cyberpunk. While I very much enjoyed it, I was a little disappointed in the ending I received. I tried everything I could get to get one of the good endings, but I received one that wasn't quite what I had hoped for. I know that I could always go back and work for a different ending, but it's not what I wanted to talk about today. The game I wanted to share with you is called Blueprints. Blueprints is a roguelite puzzle game. If you are not familiar with the term, roguelite games have a permanent end to what I'll describe as a run, but it allows you to carry certain things over or unlock items that make future runs easier. There are a lot of things I don't want to spoil about this game because it is full of discoveries. But in essence, it is a game where you have a 45-room mansion and it is your goal to locate room 46. But there's a lot more going on other than just that. You get there by drafting rooms in a grid. Different rooms have different features and do different things and contain different hidden puzzles and surprises. I played this game with another member of my family, and it was a great game to co-op. I was better at certain puzzles, and they were better at others, and we would make joint decisions on our playing strategy. It was a fun way to spend some quality time together. The game has won many awards and is truly a joy to play. It's a game where you could go at your own pace, and it will be necessary for you to use your pens and stationery. Note-taking is essential, but I have a Rhodia pad with page after page after page of notes that we use to solve various puzzles. Certain puzzles are straightforward, and others are extremely complex and challenging. Small accomplishments in this game feel like enormous victories. I can't recommend this game highly enough for gamers of all ages. If you have played Blueprints, feel free to leave your non-spoiler thoughts in the comments below. For those who have played, just last night, I did earn my final 2 trophies, the Classroom Challenge, and then the trophy for getting all of the trophies. But I have beat Dare Mode, beat Curse Mode, and beating the 1-day challenge was quite possibly the most difficult accomplishment I've ever achieved in a video game. That literally took me close to 100 attempts, but the sense of accomplishment when everything just fell into place was amazing. In the end, it's not really a game you win or defeat. You kind of choose when you have accomplished everything that you want to accomplish. And I'm pretty much there. To the best of our knowledge, we have solved all of the puzzles, unlocked all of the items, and as I said before, earned all of the trophies. But like I said, I can't recommend it enough. It's available through Steam as well as console stores and is about $30. But now the challenge begins to figure out what game I need to play next. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the notes below. Okay, that's enough for today. I enjoy this format of condensing some quicker reviews, so when I collect enough items that fit this bill, we'll do this again. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.